So a couple weeks ago, maybe it was even a month ago now, I did a giveaway for hitting 1,000 followers, and what I gave away was an 8x8 canvas just like this one. It was also a peridot metallic paint, a chrome oxide paint, just your basic white, and some cups, some bigger cups, popsicle sticks, and then a smaller than this container of Floetrol. So essentially it's everything that you need to do a canvas painting. So Sunny is the one that won it. So I kind of talked to her, and it sounds like she really liked, on my Instagram, you'll see it, there's a painting, I did a tree ring pour, and it kind of ended up with this like creepy face in it. So that one we used a lot of metallics. So I'm going to try to kind of try to recreate that using the colors that I provided her. So the first thing that you want to do once you have all your supplies is to tape the back of your canvas. So I just use regular painter's tape. I do this just because I really like a clean edge. When I first started, I didn't tape anything, and it just looks messy after, and you know, taping is pretty easy, so I just go ahead and do it. So I'm having this kind of set on 4 little cups, so I have it lifted up off the ground. That way when we pour the paint, then it can drip off and not kind of be stuck on the bottom. So first thing that we'll do is, let's see here, so we got our paints. So the pour that I did, since it had a lot of metallics, I'm going to make sure to put in a good amount of this peridot. The one thing that I always used to mess up on with tree ring pours is you really have to remember that the first color that you put inside the cup is the one that's going to end up in the middle of the canvas. So if you're unfamiliar with the tree ring pour, you'd pretty much fill this with paint and then you're slowly going to pour it. So the last color that you put in the cup is going to be the first one coming out, but the more you pour, that's going to end up being on the outside, if that makes sense. If not, you'll see it in a minute. So essentially what I'm going to do is just kind of eyeball how much paint I'm going to need. I never really measure anything, but I would say for this canvas size, I'm probably going to try to fill it about halfway up here, so about 8 ounces. This is a 16-ounce cup. So these little white cups, I just got these. Oh, there's water in this one. Cool. Okay. Let's have no water. That would be cool. Okay. So these I just got at like Fred Meyer, I think. So these are 3-ounce cups. So this does kind of help me, you know, figure out how much of the individual green, metallic, and white I want. So since I want more metallic, I'm probably going to fill this entire thing with it. Well, I'll explain that more in a sec. So let's see here. So we're going to have a cup for the metallic, we're going to have a cup for the white, a cup for the regular green, and since I'm going to want more metallic than everything else, I'm probably going to fill half of another cup. So it's about 5 ounces of metallic and then the other 2. So let me move this out of the way for a second. Okay. So I usually just line up all my cups. Now the one thing, people do it different ways. This is just kind of the way that I do it, is I do a 1-to-1 ratio with the Floetrol. And Floetrol, you really have to shake up super well. Okay, so I usually shake that up, and then I will pour my paints in the cup and then just kind of eyeball it. So this one I'll fill up about halfway. And the white, let's see, how much white do I want? So white I'm not going to use as much, so I probably only want to fill half of this thing. So I'm just going to put a little bit of white, and then the green, I'll just do a little bit more than I did with the white and have this fill up about 3/4 of the way. So once you have all the paints in there, then you'll open your Floetrol. And that might be it. Yeah, I think that's enough metallic. One of the things with not measuring anything is I always end up with way too much paint. It's something that I've tried to figure out, and it happens every single time. So what I do is always have these ceramic tiles that are already taped and ready, just on standby. Because I always end up with too much, and then that's why a lot of the times you'll see that I have, you know, one pour painting and then I have matching coasters, because I always have way too much paint. So we're gonna go ahead and just stir these. Now, Floetrol is just the additive. It's a pouring medium, and that's just the one that I choose because it's pretty cheap. You can get this size container, which is 1 gallon, for about $14. The one thing with that is that sometimes you'll see little like chunks. So when you're stirring, you just really got to make sure that you've blended it, because one of the things that can happen is you'll, you know, pour a painting and you absolutely love it, and then you look and there's this little chunk of something in the paint, and then you got to grab your tweezers and take it out, and it might, you know, mess up some things. So kind of your goal when you are mixing paints is you want it to kind of run off the popsicle stick really easily. Someone had described it as like warm honey, which I really like that description because it's pretty spot on. So this one's good. We'll move on to the next. And there are some paints that are just naturally thicker than other ones. White is one of those where, at least I've noticed, it tends to be a bit thicker. So I just add a tiny bit more Floetrol, so it's like a little bit more than a 1-to-1 ratio. And I do always have a little bit of water on hand, because it is okay, you know, to add a little bit of water to get that consistency that you want. Okay, I think that's good. And I'm probably going to spill this, but we'll see if I get lucky and not spill it in the white. So with the acrylic pouring, there's different techniques that you can do. Like there's the dirty pour, and then there's tree ring, that sort of thing. And it's really hard to 100% know what it's going to look like in the end, because, you know, I tried to recreate a painting just a couple weeks ago, because I did this purple and black and yellow one that I absolutely love. It's in my hallway, and I tried to recreate it, and it looks completely different, because you could have just your ratio of, you know, colors is a little bit off, or you pour them into the cup at a higher level than you did the last time, which makes it, you know, sink in there more, which it just blends the colors differently. So there's absolutely no way to 100% recreate these, and you can kind of have a vision in the beginning. but you know, it's just the paint's gonna do what it wants to do. One tip is what I found with these tree ring pours is I've started to actually write down the order that I want to put the paints in the cup, because I always mess it up. Every single one that I've done, I got the colors backwards, still ended up pretty, but it was just not my intention at all. So yeah, make sure to write them down. It really is helpful. So I'm not going to do another cup of the metallic because I think that's enough, because 3, 6, so 9 ounces if this was full, and these are a little bit less, so that's about 8, which I think will be just fine for this canvas. One thing you can do also when you're doing these pours is, oh, come on, one thing. You can take either like white or black or purple or green, kind of whatever base color you want, and you can mix that up and just cover the whole canvas with it first. You know, that way you know that all your edges are covered nicely. And then when you either, you know, do a dirty pour or just simply pour your paint on there, you're kind of able to move it around a lot easier because it has other paint to kind of fall on top of, and it kind of just flows a little better. And I like that too, because if you move it around and you have a you know, a nice painting that you like but it hasn't reached the edges, then that's fine, because you have that black or that purple or that white color. You can see that in some of the videos I've posted on Instagram where I'll kind of cover it with a color before, and it's just kind of a safety net in my mind. So let's see. So we've taped our canvas, we got our paints mixed up. Now all we have to do is just pour it in the cup and do our tree ring pour. So pretty simple. Okay, so I wrote them down beforehand. So I'm gonna want to do a good amount of metallic, because with the painting with the like creepy face, it's in the middle, there's a lot of metallic, but then there's a little bit of like bluish green. So I'm gonna put a good amount of metallic, and then a bit of this green, a bit more of the metallic. And when you pour it in, you can do swirls, you can just pour it in on one side. Depending on how you do that, it's gonna end up completely different. And yeah, it's kind of just up to you. Just do whatever you would like to do. Do more green. Metallic. Do some white. And I realized too, I really need to start taking videos of my pours, so I'm probably going to start doing more YouTube videos. Oops. Yeah, I want to start doing more videos and actually writing down, these are the colors that I used, this is about how many ounces it was, because I have a lot of people that want to know, you know, what, oops, whatever, you know, what paintings did you use for that, what colors and how much, and I just can't remember. So I look at the painting and hope that I'm gonna, you know, it's gonna come to my mind, but half the time it doesn't. So now we have everything in the cup. You are simply going to kind of do a swirl. what I've noticed is it is better to kind of have your cup closer to the canvas, and the slower pour you do, you're gonna have more defined lines, which I suck at. So here we go. So you just do a little bit of a circular swirling sort of motion. I think this is the first time that I have not mixed too much paint. Okay, so once you've done that, then you're simply going to choose a direction that you want to tilt your canvas. And then I always just kind of check the edges. So over here, it's not really covered, so I can either tilt it more or grab a popsicle stick and kind of move it over there. But I'm not super happy with the shape, so I'm gonna choose to tilt it and change this a little bit. Okay, and it looks like that edge is also not covered. So I'll tilt it this way. This is part of the reason I also like to kind of cover the canvas with a color beforehand, because if I would have liked that initial look, then there's no way I really would have been able to keep it. You can also just kind of use your finger and kind of help that paint along. Okay. So I'll set it on here. It's a lot of paint. That's part of the reason I tape the back too, because I am incredibly messy. Okay, so once it's all poured, I'm gonna check your edges. Sweet. So, yeah, once that's done, if you don't like it, sometimes what I'll do is, you know, if I have some white left, then I'll dip it in the white, and, you know, we could just, well, it's a little too thick to do what I'm thinking. So add a little bit of water. Yeah, but essentially if you don't like something, you can do whatever you want. You can, you know, put your popsicle stick in a little bit more paint and put some lines on here. You can just scrape it all off and start again. It's kind of whatever you want, and that's what's nice about this. I mean, wasting some paint is not the the best thing. But yeah, you can kind of just play. And I did just have a glob of paint fall from my gloves right into the middle. So probably gonna do something right there then too, because I don't want that glob there. Well, that fixed it. I think I like that. Well, maybe. So, this is kind of my first tutorial video, so let me know if you have any questions. I can definitely answer them. I'm gonna try to make more of a presence on YouTube. I am on Instagram a whole lot, so if you want to check me out on there, it's Martial Artistry. And so Sunny, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a message, and then I can give you any tips. Or with this one, I might recommend, if you want it to look a bit more like the creepy faced one that I have, this green that I chose I hadn't worked with before at all, but that green isn't like super dark, so it's kind of similar to the metallic that we have. So what you could do is get another green, just a darker green color, so that way you have more of a contrast, you know, of the color on the outside than the one on the inside with the metallic. So let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, thanks for watching my video. Go ahead and subscribe if you want to, since again I will be posting more. So thanks. Bye.